here. So, love to Michael Beecher. Great. So we're going to use this song to go into a time of meditation. And this is a really simple chant. And it's, comes from Scripture, and except there's a word left out, which may or may not confuse you. But I found this particular version in a little book called The Impersonal Life. Anyone ever heard of The Impersonal Life? It's a cute little book about that size from about 1930 or 1940. And it says in the meditation, it gives you a meditation to, in your mind, hear the words, be still and know, as you inhale, as you exhale, I am God. Be still and know, I am God. You might try that, sit out under a tree, be still and know, I am God. And it's, for me, it's just inviting us to go into stillness and then know the I am that lives inside. To me, it seems like it's just that simple. Just be still and know the I am. So I was using this. I was at a very menial job years ago and thought, well, I'll just do this meditation while I'm doing this very repetitive thing. And then after a while, some music came to those words, and that's what we're going to sing today. So be still and know. So let's close our eyes. And we'll sing this little chant a bit. It'll fade into silence. And afterwards, we'll just sit in that silence a moment or two. After that, I'll lead a guided meditation. So no clapping required, just be in that state. Let's take a deep breath in. Be still and know I am God. So join me. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Sing a harmony if you want to. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know I am God. Be still and know. What a gift it is to go into the stillness, to spend time in that presence of the I am. Such a simple invitation. Be still and know. Be still and know the I am that always lives in your center. And when some challenge comes up in your day, what can you do? Be still and know. That I am presence lives in your center always. You can always come back to it. Come back to home base. Be still and know. And that I am presence is a place of peace, a place of stillness that you always carry. No matter what you see through your eyes out in your world, you always have that place of peace, that center of stillness. It doesn't really matter so much what you're seeing as where you're seeing it from. Doesn't matter what you see as much as where you're seeing it from. And we look from our center. Be still and know. Be still and know. I am God inside you. and so it is, and so you are. Amen. Storms will come and storms will go. It's not always fun, but then you'll know how to be free and let life prove you only are free when you let things move. Storms will come and storms will go. Just stand in the wind and let things blow. Blow you away and cleanse your soul. You're willing to say what you can't control, and then you fly on the wind, and then you soar into your beginning, and then you sail on the wind, and then you dive into your beginning, into your beginning. Storms will come and storms will go. It's not always fun, but then you'll know how to be free and let life prove you only are free when you let things move. And then you fly on the wind, and then you soar into your beginning, and then you sail on the wind, and then you dive into your beginning, into your beginning, into your beginning, into your beginning. Storms will come. Thank you. It's one of my wife's favorite songs. She loves that one. Today is our anniversary, so thank you. So I'll step off this mic. Let's see. Are we on? We're good? Okay. Yeah, it's our anniversary. That's why I had the concert last night, so I could scoot home back to Clearwater right after church. So that's what's going on. Put a few notes here. Congratulations. Thank you. Yeah, no kidding. You know, we both feel like we finally hit the lottery after a few missteps in our lives, you know. My talk today, I mentioned the subtitle. The name of my talk is The Bows of Our Boats. You know, like that front of the boat, the bows of our boats, and awake in our adventure. So I want to get into that in a minute, but first, I love opening with a joke, so I have a new joke for you. And this is a little bit about staying awake in our adventure. So there's these two old codgers, and they're in the car, they're going to lunch, they're driving down Main Street in this small town. And there's Dave at the wheel, and then his buddy, Paul, is next to him. He's riding shotgun. And, they're going down Main Street, and, Paul's just sitting there, watching the, things go by as Dave is driving. And suddenly Paul says, "Oh my God, did Dave just run a red light?" Well, maybe I imagined it. It probably is nothing. So they go a few more blocks, and he says, "Oh my God, Dave just ran a second red light. If he does it again, I think I need to tell him." And sure enough, Dave runs a third red light. And finally, Paul says, "Well, Dave, I'm sorry to tell you this, but you just ran 3 red lights." And Dave says, "I'm driving?" So awake in our adventure. Dave wasn't so awake in that moment, but the older we get, there seem to be more and more jokes about lack of memory. I guess the good news is if you can remember the jokes. I had something happen to me a few years ago I want to share with you, and this has to do with a dear friend of mine. Her name is Tana, and she passed on a couple of years ago. And she's someone that I knew for 33 years of my life. We raised our kids together, and just as friends, and they're still close. They're 34 years old, my son and her daughter. But Tana was one of these people who's so brilliant, like genius on so many different levels, and yet could never quite get her life together. It just seems like nothing ever quite worked, like she was carrying some burden that she couldn't get past, couldn't get over. And it was sad because she's so brilliant. And one of the funniest people you'd ever meet, hysterical, wonderful cook, all these things, but I always felt like she just never quite put the pieces together of her life. And then she came down with cancer, and it managed to go into remission, and then it came back again, went into remission, came back a third time, and the doc said, "I'm sorry, you're not getting out of this. There's nothing we can do." And so she had a few months to live. And when this was happening, I didn't live as close to her as I had, but I came by about 8 months before she passed. No, sorry, about 8 weeks. And she had lost a good amount of weight by then. She had been pretty heavy. But so I came and visited, hung out for a couple of hours, just hanging out with her and her cat. And I was so impressed with how much she looked the best she'd ever looked. It's like, what is going on? It wasn't just the weight loss. It's like something was at ease. Like she had let that load off of her shoulders. And I think that some part of her said, "Oh, now I don't have to accomplish, I don't have to like somehow live up to everyone's expectations anymore." And she just dropped her baggage in a way. And for me, it brought up the question of, do we have to be on our deathbed to drop our baggage? Can we let go of all these things that are weighting us down without having to be on the edge of giving up, that it's over? And it was kind of sad in a way. And it just reminds me, just let go of this baggage. Don't get stuck in it. Don't wait till your deathbed to finally say, "Okay, I can finally have a sigh of relief. I'm off the hook." I guess she felt off the hook to have to be anything for other people. Well, she did finally pass. I got the call around 5 or 6 in the afternoon. And that evening, Heidi and I were in bed, getting ready to just turn the lights off. And we were looking at each other, kind of pillow talk on the side. And she could see that my mind was somewhere else. So Heidi said, "What are you thinking?" And I said, "Well, just about Tana, and, because she just passed a few hours ago. And I'm hearing these words in my head." And she said, "Well, do you need to get up and write them?" I said, "Yeah, I think I will." And I did. It became this poem. And it really looks at, I'll just tell you the words that I first heard. It goes, "We are the bows of our boats, the leading edge of our venture." And the image I was getting was this, there it goes. At the bow of the boat, it's like cutting through the water. There's that edge just right where it's immediate. To me, it really describes the moment that we're in. We're passing, each moment we just pass like cutting through the water with the bow of our boat. To me, that was a great representation of just staying awake to time passing, to our experience in life. And because, whenever someone dies, and we've had this happen, if you're like me, it's like you go, oh my God, I need to stay awake. I get on automatic so easily. I need to stay awake. This is precious. And if you're like me, many times that awareness fades and you're just back to what you do in your daily life, even, unless maybe it's a spouse or something, that may take quite a while longer, but it's just like we get back in our rhythms. And so anyway, these words came, and I wanted to read this to you. Now, have you ever been to a weekend retreat, and it's like talent night, and someone says, I'm going to share a poem, and you realize they have 12 pages stapled together? This is not that long, so. Let's see if this speaks to you. We are the bows of our boats, the leading edge of our venture. There's so much down below that you may never see. And often we're with people in life, we don't know what's in the hold of their boat. There's a lot of baggage that we don't see. We are each moment in time. So that's just trying to keep us right here. We are each moment in time the way we face our future. The one you see in these eyes is not my history. Often we get caught up with, people's stories and kind of applying them to them instead of can you just be right here with what's happening now, not their history. And if you feel some weight, it's holding me together, a ballast to be sure, for when I hit rough seas. But that's not who I am, or barely who I was ever. So catch me if you can, again, in every breath's release. Catch me here in this present moment. And then lastly, so may you gleam and may you shine and find your place beyond time. Who we are as spiritual beings is beyond time. It's eternal, it's changeless. Can you find that aspect of you? May you know that sweet line that is you and not you beyond time. That meeting of the earthly and the ethereal. And that's that edge. I remember when a dear friend of mine passed, I start feeling like another friend, like this life is starting to feel more ethereal than I thought. If he can go, so again, may you know that sweet line that is you and not you beyond time. So keep that image in mind, that bow of the boat, cutting through the water, that keeps us kind of awake in it versus, falling asleep. When I grew up as a kid, we had, what are you thinking about, John?
Bow of the boat.
Okay.
Robert just bought a boat, so.
Okay. We're all going with Robert this afternoon, except me. As a kid, I was the eldest of 4 kids, and all tightly packed in age. My mom actually had 4 of us in less than 2 years and 9 months. Get out your calculators and figure that out. So it was after me came my sister, and 11 months later, twins. So boom, boom, boom. We were a true baby boom. 4 kids in diapers back when they were cloth. So anyway, we grew up a wonderful little suburban house, and we had a naval aviator friend who got us a floor-to-ceiling map of the world, which we made wallpaper in our little breakfast kitchen area. So I grew up for years with this map of the world on the wall, and we'd play games like, my mom or dad would say, "Can you find Lisbon? Can you find Perth, Australia?" So so we were learning the world just by playing a fun little game. So fast forward to the late 90s, I was going on a flight on Japan Airlines from San Francisco to Tokyo. First time ever going to Japan, and just very excited to go and do some concerts and workshops and things that I had set up. And so I was on the flight, and I was on a 747. You know how it has that hump on the second story, the second level, and it's I was up there. It was a coach seat, but I was in that hump part, and I was about 8 seats back from the door to the cockpit. The cockpit was up there. And so we've been flying about 2.5 hours. All the shades are down because people want to get some sleep. And I'm just sitting there not asleep and thinking, oh, it's been about 2.5 hours. I wonder if we're over the Aleutian Islands, the ones that come off of Alaska. And again, referring back to my map of the world, I grew up Kamloops awareness, and I raised the window, and there they were, just stretching off into the distance. Like, oh my God, I'm singing for real this time. Like, I closed them real quick because I don't want to bother people who are sleeping. A second later, the flight attendant comes up and she says, "Would you like to see that from the cockpit?" I said, well, we don't do that in America. And this is even before 9/11, but still, I don't think we would have done that. And I said, yes, please, thank you. And so she comes up and she gets the key out, unlocks it, and knocks and says something in Japanese, and I'm invited into the cockpit. So 747, it's pretty large, and there's the pilot, the co-pilot, and then behind them in the middle is a third seat, and it has this sheepskin on it, and they say, hey, have a seat, go ahead. And I say, well, thank you. And then they raise the visor so I can see the Aleutians in both directions, and we end up chatting. They say, so is it your first time going to Japan? I said, yes. And, are you on business or pleasure? And I said, well, a little bit of both. Well, what do you do for a living? Well, I'm a musician, I play guitar, I'm doing some concerts and workshops. Oh, what kind of music? I never know how to answer. Can anyone tell me what kind of music I play? Religious, enlightening, spiritual. Thank you. Well, I've come up with acoustic spiritual pop. I don't know, but that probably means nothing to anybody. But thank you for voicing. So anyway, I said I don't know what to call it, but my guitar is just outside in the closet. Would you like to hear a song? I said, sure, bring it in. So I get the guitar, and I'm sitting on the sheepskin third seat, and just strap my guitar on. And I had just written a song about a week before that I just loved, so it was in my head a lot. And I just started playing that one. And I didn't even realize what I was doing, because the words say, it starts out, sometimes I feel like a bird flying over the ocean. That's their lives. That's these pilots' lives. I'm singing their song and not even realizing it consciously. But at the end of it, the younger of the two, he turned around, he seemed like mesmerized, just like in the music. And at this point, I'm thinking, I hope this thing's on autopilot. And he said, oh my God, I love that song. Are you doing any concerts in Tokyo? I would love for my wife to hear it. I said, yes. And I got his contact information and was able to have someone reach him when I knew the location and time. And he attended it. He and his wife were there, and I decided with translators to tell that story and then sing that song. And at the end of telling the story, I got to say, and my Japan Airlines pilot and his wife are on the back row, and everyone goes, ooh. What fun. So awaken the adventure. So now I want to ask you, because often we do this, what if when the flight attendant came up and said, would you like to see that from the cockpit? What if I said, oh, no, I don't want to bother you? I mean, how many times do we do that? So, I don't want to be a bother. No, to jump in, take those leaps. Life is saying, some people have a game called Say Yes to Everything. No matter, or pick a day, you're going to say yes no matter what someone asks you. That's kind of bold. And so notice if sometimes you say, oh, no, I don't want to bother. I mean, none of that would have happened. I wouldn't have had that great adventure, tell that story, any of it. Life is here to be juicy, to stay awake in your adventure, life is bringing you things. We talk about our friend Alan Cohen. His most famous book is called The Dragon Doesn't Live Here Anymore. He's also written, I love this title, it's a fairly new book. It's called A Course in Miracles Made Easy, which I don't believe that's true or possible, but it's a cute title. And I'm sure he has some great things to say in it. There's one title that stands out to me, a book he wrote called Joy is My Compass. It's not a great line, just an awareness. Joy is my compass. What is your north arrow? You're not really truly in your power unless you're in your joy. If you're doing something that you hate, do you feel powerful? You feel like you're on your right track? If you're sitting there doing some jobs, why am I even here? Joy is my compass. And I know it can sound like airy-fairy and follow your bliss and all that, but there's something there. There's a truth in it, because your heart responded when you heard me say it. Joy is my compass. How can you pull yourself where the real energy is, the real adventure, the real life? You may know that I have a degree in architecture. It was a 5-year degree. I was sitting in my little cubicle, feeling like, what am I doing here? How did I get here? It was safe, it was secure, and not a lot of fun. And it wasn't me. It wasn't what I came here to do. Last night I sang a piece called When You Sing Your Song. It's like when you sing what it is you came to sing. What is your gift? What song do you not want to die in you before you leave this planet? What's your gift? How can you follow that bliss? I've an awareness that I noticed, and I want to ask you if you've noticed this too. This has to do with being awake in our adventure. Because if we're asleep, I've noticed sometimes if we're kind of just on automatic, like time zooms by, and if you're just having adventure after adventure after adventure, it just seems to slow down. And I want to talk about an awareness that I think is partly why that works. So, for example, have you ever been on a vacation, like it's a week vacation, or maybe you're at a retreat, and you got there on Sunday, and now it's Monday evening, you're having dinner, and say, oh my God, have we just been here one day? It feels like so much has happened. You know that feeling? And then other times, like the week just zooms by when you're just at the desk, or your computer, like, oh, I can't believe it's midnight. It's midnight already. And I think it's what I'm going to call the pigeonhole effect. So, pigeonholes, like in the old mail rooms, you have all the, you stick the papers and the envelopes in. I think that when we're kind of asleep in our lives, that you're not putting much in the pigeonholes. It's like just every now and then there's some experience you actually noticed. And if you're just like out doing an adventure, on vacation, a retreat, where you're just doing thing after thing, like all your moments are full. You're awake in more of your moments. And so there's more life in your moments. And your pigeonholes are just filled with experiences and awarenesses and awakeness. So your job is to fill your pigeonholes, is to not sleep through your life. How can you be awake on the edge, on the bow of your boat as it's cutting, creating that bow wake? Awaken your adventure. I think that I want to bring in A Course in Miracles. I have a quote, and it says, a sense of separation from God is the only lack you really need correct. A sense of separation from God is the only lack you really need correct. I think that often when we're longing for love or we feel apart, and we're just like not realizing we've been connected to God the whole time, we're just not noticing. I remember Alan Cohen used to say, if you feel far from God, who moved? It's a great line. But if you're feeling separate from God, you're actually feeling separate from life, from awareness, from awakeness. Love only happens in this present moment. It doesn't happen in your mind. It doesn't happen when you're thinking about the future. The only place love can exist is when you're awake in this. This is where it is. This is where anything is. Can you stay awake in your adventure? Can you watch that bow wake cutting through the water? And if you're not awake, you're separate from God. Separation from God is the only lack we really need correct. So wake up. Stay awake in this. There's a song that a friend of mine wrote using words from A Course in Miracles. It says, the Holy Spirit is the voice within you to awaken and be glad. And then in the song, there's this great part we sing, so wake up. We have everybody in the audience jump to their feet. Maybe we'll do it during the love offering. I had a different song planned. Maybe I'll do that one. It's a lot of fun. So, are you ready to stay connected, to not be separate from God, to not be separate from this moment? to stay awake in your adventure, to keep your eye on that bow wake that you're cutting through every moment, present, right here, right now. Thank you. So do the offering, and then I'll sing a song, huh?
Into our celebration of abundance, our opportunity to give back from our financial abundance. Let us begin by reading the Unity of Jupiter Prosperity Blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. There are many ways to give. You can drop your gift in the baskets going around. You can also text your donation to 561-581-1119 or give by debit or credit card after today's service in our office located off the sanctuary. Most of these options can be set up for automatic recurring giving. To keep our time of giving sacred, I'd like you to take your gift into your hands and bless it. You are planting the seeds to your own prosperity and giving back to God from the abundance that has already been provided for you. Breathe life into your gift and thank God that you have this gift to give. Now affirm with me the auditory blessing. Okay. Love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive.
All that I receive. I'm not going to make you jump up and down on this song, so. And after this, I'd like to do a brief announcement, if that's okay. So, this song is called "Letting It Fly." So we're stepping into that place where we're more awake in our moments. So, and I love to do this with an echo. So I'll sing, "Letting it go." Then you echo that, "Letting it go, letting it fly." Okay, that'll work on the verses, but not the chorus. You'll see. Here we go. Letting it go, letting it fly. How can you know if you'll laugh or cry? You jump in the river of life. So now you're a swimmer. It's in your eyes. With your arms open wide, you are shining inside, and you look with the eyes of your soul. It's a choice that you make with each breath that you take, and it's all for the sake of your soul. When you were younger, when you were young, your head in the clouds, did you ever wonder how things would play out? Now that you're older and so much you've done, does it ever feel like you've just begun? With your arms open wide, you are shining inside, and you look with the eyes of your soul. It's a choice that you make with each breath that you take, and it's all for the sake of your soul. Letting it go, letting it fly. And there you go, you flew. Can I get you to wait a second? Yeah. So I'm going to do a brief announcement just to let you know what else is going on. So I have some CDs over here in the corner. If you want a CD, it's $15 each, but after that, each one is $5 a CD. So if that's something you'd like to take home. Or if you want to get all 18 CDs on a thumb drive, $30. So 18 for 30, such a deal. And lastly, who would like to spend a couple of weeks with me in Italy? It's possible. People have done it year after year. So I have a tour in October, and there's a flyer over there, and you can see if that's for you. And it's just a blast. So if you're feeling called to it, pick up a flyer, stick it on your fridge, call me, okay? So thank you very much. We'll bring you up.